All right, what's up, everybody? Today we're
Hello.
here with Richard and Ian, and we're going to be discussing the Fire Farm, our new kind of solar integrated agriculture system that's pretty much off the grid as soon as it's powered up and producing energy and food. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, welcome.
Yeah,
So
hi.
Thanks for having us.
yeah, of
Mhm.
course. So yeah, we're here to talk about the 20,000 square foot facility in you know hopefully Kansas City as we get it approved. But
Mhm.
yeah, let's talk about what we've got here and kind of the outputs and what we're thinking as far as the near next 6 months to year of movement on this thing.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, well, that sketch we're looking at is just really hot off the drawing board. And it does represent a kind of a new idea to integrate those photovoltaic panels. So that's the blue elements you see on the roof there. And of course, they're on the south facing slope of the roof. And the roof, has a south and north slope, each one modular. So yeah, so this is a really efficient design, to integrate. However, as we were talking, probably not our first best step, but we'll get there. What were you saying about that, Ian? You have a better suggestion to get us going, I think.
Yeah, I don't know that it's better just
Oh yeah.
thinking through options, right? I worked in commercial solar construction for a period of time, and just know that oftentimes these companies have basically pre-built solutions, right? They have preferred vendors they work with, and they on a ground mount system or like a commercial install, they kind of know how they want to mount the solar panels already, whether it's on the ground or for commercial building, how that's going to go on the roof.
Right.
And so a lot of these things are sort of pre-built for these applications, whereas on a Pyrofarm, some of that thinking would need to be thought through. Perhaps a custom solution would need to be designed, and it would just be very new territory for a lot of commercial contractors. So
Mhm.
just some concerns that it might worry them or might be a bit out of their
Mhm.
scope. Maybe something to take on in future projects. So thinking I could share the SketchUp I'd made before, but just thinking through, given the amount of land we have, and that there is an additional 25 to 30,000 square feet, that there's plenty of room to do a very large ground mounted system next to the solar or next to the pyro farm that
Mhm.
would still more than supply the electricity we need to power the facility and be a net producer.
Right.
yeah. So Ian, if you want to share some of the you can share the kind of what you've got and maybe the land footage that we're working with.
Mhm.
Yeah, here we go.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, there we
So yeah,
go.
just a reminder for anybody who hasn't been tapping me once I move my tabs over. Um, this is the land here in Kansas City. All of this is currently owned by the land bank. It's a former neighborhood that is now totally abandoned, derelict. So I'm not a SketchUp pro by any means, very, very amateur. So I took some pre-built components in SketchUp. This greenhouse is just a tiny bit smaller, it's about 17,000 square feet as compared to 20. And being on the restream is a lot for my computer, so you have to pardon me while things load in.
Right.
Once the land loads back in, though, and the solar panels, there we go.
Hmm.
Basically, thinking something like, jumping back to the land here, solar roof all along the back here, oriented just like you had it in the original drawing. The peak sort of north and south facing here,
Okay.
and then covering this area here with solar panels. I imagine there'll be a bit extra land back here to actually put more solar panels, just not having an exact size solar roof or pyro farm.
Mhm.
I didn't want to, be too crazy, but this is still 560, 540, let's see, 10, 8, 160, 240, 320, 400, 480, 90, 500, 10, 20, 30, 540 commercial grade solar panels. So quite
Right.
a bit.
Mhm.
And then on these two lots right here, just thinking through, we need accessibility. We need places for our vehicles to come and go, right? This produce does need to get transported to the final destination, and maybe some on-site parking. And why not use solar for that as well? So included some solar park instructions there.
Yeah, good idea. Excellent. Yep.
Yeah, and I think we do a 20,000 square foot, fire farm. We do a 20,000 square foot solar farm, and then that leaves 5,000 square feet for extra, and then 5,000 square feet for a parking structure like you got there. And yeah, because I think we had a total of like 51,000 square feet. So
yeah, 53. No, 51. You're right.
Yeah, and then Richard, that land right there beside it is owned by different pieces and parcels.
Okay.
But what I was thinking for a future project too is, we could talk to Peter, and maybe get some quadra homes up there for the residentials, right?
Yeah. Excellent.
Help seal
Terrific
in
idea.
that relationship with Peter and giving him a spot. Let's say Pace agrees to our build here. We talk to Peter and see if he wants to, supply the residentials for, the employees on that land.
Brilliant idea. I was just talking with him before coming here, and I did mention to him about the project. So he's quite he's quite excited, interested, and as the way we're working together as a global network could open doors for us over there in Europe as well.
Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely. Yeah. So I think that if we could produce the energy, produce the food, and then provide sustainable housing for the employees, that that's a win-win model. But I mean, even just the food and the energy is huge, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, energy efficient food, zero carbon food. That would be that's a lot to celebrate right there, and then integrating with the PV panels just makes us more off grid, more quickly, more easily off grid. So this is a fantastic idea.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll need to get some energy estimates for the Pyro Farm and all of the units inside. But I'm still assuming with this many solar panels, it should be net energy production.
Yeah, actually, I ran some numbers using half the roof, so that would be like 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
But then actually only the south-facing sides of that area, so it's actually like the footprint would be, say, 5,000 square feet of solar cells, and I got estimates of the annual energy, which with the optimization we can do, come out to about 770 megawatts was the number that could be integrated. Now, again, we won't do that on the first go here anyway. We'll do the ground, the ground anchored array. But for the future, my goodness, that looks really promising. 700 watts per square foot of ground area. So because when you tilt, you get more area and you get more sunlight, actually. So the tilting is very important to get better efficiency, more electrical power out of a solar cell, of a solar panel. So compared to just a horizontal, right?
Right.
Horizontal. And a lot of times they'll calculate horizontal because we've got all the solar data for every location. So I got solar data for Kansas City. So this is based exactly on an optimum design for Kansas City. And also the angle, which is optimum for all year round, right? Because as you said, when they're on the ground, they can also tilt. Like you can go around and...
Yeah, I had installed some of those tilt systems when I was working in commercial solar. They track the sun through the day from east to west.
Yeah. And even manually, you can tilt them, per month or something. But, whether that's truly worth it or not is another question. But when they're installed on our roof, of course, they have a permanent angle.
Right.
So we get that optimum angle and calculate it precisely for Kansas City. Comes out to 39 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's quite a nice slope for the roof. Typically I would be a little bit more shallow, so it is a little bit more angled, but it's straightforward to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how much energy maybe the RAS, the recirculating aquaponics system, may take to
Right.
operate.
Yeah. That and the aeroponics.
Yeah,
Yeah, those kind of loads, especially like the RAS. So it's basically like a stable load for
Right.
mostly like water circulation, right?
Right.
So you do need to do it, as I believe anyway, is 24 hours a day,
Yep.
day and night. And then some of the loads in the greenhouse are more pronounced in, let's say, the summer daytime for cooling.
Right. Right. With
Right.
the bubble pumps running more frequently.
Yeah, that's it, and the liquid cooling running
Yep.
uh, in addition. So, we can. It'd be very yeah. We'll do that as part of the study, engineering study. Before
Yep.
we freeze the plan, or you know, we'll have to do some quick engineering calculations. But all this stuff is well known. It's not any mystery about how to get all these numbers together. So we just include that in a phase, of the project implementation.
Yep.
I mean, it would be typical to take about 3 months out of a delivery time, or maybe 2 months,
Yeah.
to run all the numbers and just basically reevaluate everything. It's
Yep.
important to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds exactly right to me.
Yeah. Plus, we have an exact property, and sometimes that means right now we have a generic design that's not based on a certain property, or dimensions of the lot or so, because we can vary those things to get a good fit on the lot. So that's the kind of thing we'll have to do those adjustments, once we get funded.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. And I think that the pace process too, which is kind of nice that we're going for this bigger project because apparently pace has a lot of its own kind of fee structures. Um, so I think that they do kind of like it says there's like a 60-piece process that they do through their
Mhm.
funding. Like after you get approved, there's like 60 steps that they do, and I think a
Mhm.
majority of that is calculating kind of like the carbon savings and like
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff in depth. So yeah,
Mm.
Yeah. They said there's a marketing package they'll deliver for us, and it'd be great to have the pace stamp on the thing. Kind
Mm.
of like getting LEED certified as a skyscraper, right? Just shows you care about the environment and you're doing all these things.
Right, right. That's really good.
yeah.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah, and I know Jai, he's not able to make it today, it seems, but he's also
Mhm.
making movements on the Pyrapod as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, we've got the like I say, the panel design, the cover design finalized, and so looks now that what Jaya could do is create a pattern on the standard design, which he's building standard design. Then take it. He's going to go visit with Aubrey, um, to his home where the project is located. Yeah, and
Nice.
actually test the pattern on his structure, because that structure is already built. So we have to know if there's any real variation between the standard design and Aubrey's design. So um, Jai can evaluate that with a visit, and then when he goes back to Mexico, he will continue with the manufacturing for Aubrey, and we know that when it gets there, it's going to fit perfectly. So that is part of the plan now.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to see that one come up as well. The smaller version. Yeah, yeah. So I think that we're making some good progress.
Mhm.
We got kind of launching on both ends here with the Fire Pod and the Fire Farm. So
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, make a small scale for households and a farm scale for communities.
Yes,
I think
sir.
that covers it.
Yep. And then maybe, so what are some of the outputs for this 20,000 square foot facility? So how much food are we thinking that this is going to put out annually based on the estimates?
Yeah, I looked at that today. Just a rough, as a rough
Yeah.
estimate, and I made a note of the numbers. I'm just gonna see if I can find that quickly.
Yeah. I've got some of these.
Did you did you see it? I posted it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, here it is. So 20,000 square feet would have we should have a zero carbon production footprint first of all, right?
Yes.
It will be local. It will be off grid. It will be climate secure, right? Which you can't say about many food systems today.
Right. Right.
And part of that is it's protected, and it's from weather and weather situation.
Controlled environment agriculture, as they say.
So I've estimated for the 20,000 square feet that we'd have 500 tons fresh organic food per year, right? And that's based on 20 pounds per square foot of fish
Okay.
harvested per year, and 40 pounds of veg. And I think, because we have a vertical growing for the veg, and because we have the CO2 enriched atmosphere,
Yes.
I'm very, very satisfied that that's like I like conservative number. I think it possibly could be higher, but we don't want to push the numbers. What's also kind of staggering. This is a number that again the operations will be a proof of concept for. But because we condense transpired water, it's a closed system.
Mhm.
So there's no ventilation. We're actually controlling humidity by condensing. And plants to cool themselves, the transpiration process
Yes.
is very intense. Right? There's a lot of water produced. So when you add up the 20,000 square feet, this might be somewhat of an overestimate because I think we may not be using like every square foot, in terms of actual production area. But anyway, based on the 20,000 of production, I guess we could say production area. Um, it's 10 tons per day of clean water.
Wow.
Yeah, I know that's kind of a staggering number, and I think that a lot of communities would be especially where we're generating clean water from air, right? So this is it's like distillation, right? Very similar to a distillation system, and I would say that communities that are looking to desalinization, right,
Yeah.
to generate pure water, uh, I'm sure they'd get quite excited about numbers like that. Um, but of course, these are also numbers that were verified by NASA programs, the CELS program, that when you're in a closed environment, you have these circular, cycles for water. Water gets in the air as vapor and it's condensed, and then it's clean, and then you use it, becomes gray water, right? But you don't throw that away. You put it back into the fish production, basically, and from the fish production it goes to the plants again, and then the plants transpire it again, and then you condense it, and it goes around that circle. So that's circular process for water, similar for CO2, even for oxygen, right? So all the atmospheric and even the water itself, the liquid water, and the nutrients, right? They all go around closed circuits. So the water is something that is something that will really be a huge factor. And But because this is such a unique system, this is part of the proof of concept or sort of stage we're in. And in a way, it's not even that we have to achieve that. We can be completely successful without having a completely closed water system, right? Because I don't think
Right.
Kansas City is worried about water that much. Um, but anyway, it is an important element. And then also, so we're estimating one 100 megawatts of clean energy for that 20,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah, if we integrated the PV in the way in which we put it on the southern slope, and that is really amazing. It's very high, and of course I got to check my numbers. We'll be checking all of these things. We'll have the experts look at it too. I mean, all I did was go with what the AI said. Okay, the AI seemed to know very well what would happen, um, and but yeah, with that 39-degree slope, we're getting on a footprint below it. We're getting 700. Um, uh, what is the number? 700 kilowatts per year per meter.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
What
but
was your estimate of the wattage size for the panels?
just did it per meter, and I asked for typical commercial outputs, and that was given as 300 watts to 350 watts per hour
Okay.
as a typical output. But of course, that's a midday output, right? So then you need to go to the average solar radiation available in Kansas City with a 39-degree slope, which is the most, optimum. And so that's the number that came out. Well, we'll be checking, right? We'll do a lot of work on that. And when we do the solar farm, we'll see what they say as well, right?
Right.
So, and this is the advantage, I think, of doing it, not right now, trying to integrate it with Pyrofarm, but just let the two technologies, do their best, right? And because integration is another problem, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if we've got all this land,
Mhm.
it just works to let the solar company come in, put that as the energy source, and then we work on doing our thing on the fire farm,
Mhm.
and it just makes it flow
So
easy.
yeah, so we don't need that much energy anyway. No, we don't. So we don't need to say that solar array should even be that large, actually. But and when we get our actual loads, from engineering team, and each one can tell us, the aquaculture and the hydroponic people, and they'll all just give us their because they're doing it right. There's not novel things, these not new things, and I'm confident that we'll only use a small percentage with our what we could call our basic load, but then we can always use more of that for lamps anytime, especially in the
Yes.
winter. On site, use our own electricity, clean electricity again, to bump up the food production and kind of levelize the food, right? So we won't have, let's say, less productivity in the winter because we can just go with more lamp energy. Shorter days, so we lengthen the day with some artificial lighting.
Yeah, we'll be performing at such an energy, compared to the competition with an open greenhouse. All the
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
outputs and inputs that they have to go through.
Oh yeah,
It's going to be very
yeah,
interesting to see the amount of kind of carbon and kind of money that we save in general with our
yes.
system.
Yeah, the main, the very big difference for the Pyre Farm is that we've got that, well, nearly 1 meter, like 3 feet of bubble insulation in the roof. So that's commercial grade, right? That's like super insulation grade. And again, in some situations, we could say, oh, we don't really need that much, but liquid bubble don't really cost, negligible cost. So it doesn't cost a lot more to get a super insulation. Actually, it hardly costs anything more to get like super insulation value, say R40 or something like that, compared to R20. It's a negligible factor. So for commercial purpose, might as well go big, right? Get a high R value.
Yeah,
Completely makes sense.
and
And a typical greenhouse is like R1. So, what is our advantage? Like 30 or 40 times.
It's insane.
yeah, and that's the insulation value, and one is essentially next to nothing, and then 40 is pretty much super insulation to the point where the temperature change is very stable.
Almost like a passive house.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's equivalent to standards for residential building or commercial buildings, passive house, or the star. What do they call it? Energy Star type design spec for buildings.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Maybe we should try to get this rated under those programs. I don't think any greenhouse has ever even asked to be energy rated because they're
True.
crazy. they wouldn't make it at all.
That is the type of thing that would help with media and getting eyes on this, right? Is being the first greenhouse to be certified under these things. And
yeah. I was just thought of that as a bit of a lark, but actually, yeah, you're right. That would make quite a stir, I would say.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we could do, with Pace essentially, is tell them, in the package that we're looking to maybe do that, because I know that they have standards like that as well.
Yeah, that is their mission. So I think they'd be really excited as well to do that sort of verification and get that word out, that this is a new standard now for food, energy, efficiency in food.
Yep. So now we just got to put it together and get it going.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Definitely.
So we're writing up a kind of a pitch document, a kind of an executive summary, I think, for the project, and we'll fit in this hybridization, solar greenhouse, solar energy panels. That's really great.
Yeah, I wrote a little bit of it this weekend, a couple of pages. Just talking about how we're coming in now to really, step the game up on sustainability. I mean, integrating the solar panels it just takes us off grid immediately, and we really, especially at this size, we're going to be an energy we're not just off grid. We're going to be producing energy and selling it back as a revenue, while also producing extremely efficient food. We're talking 90% efficiencies, and we'll be able to actually show that on a commercial scale now. But it's already been proven. Like you said, just the closed water loop system saves us a tremendous amount. And then you talk about how much the R value versus the traditional, pretty much air conditioned greenhouse. They have to ventilate certain times of the day, or they lose a crop. I mean, once we're in production for a couple of years too, and we get to show people hey, we've been producing through winter and we haven't missed any crops. It's I think it'll be exponentially something that will be kind of noticed in the next few years. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, that diagram, this should go in the proposal.
Yeah, I was thinking I could share this with you to pass forward to Young, I believe was your the guy who had done the other model. Then he could delete that kind of standard greenhouse I put on there and replace it with the actual 20,000 square foot structure.
Oh, good idea. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we can put that there.
Try to get things as close to the actual thing as we can.
Yeah, you can even send an email of a clip of that property line that you got that shows the exact property we're going to use too.
Yep. I can do that.
Yeah, and then, like I said, right beside that property is available property for a possible later residential.
Yeah.
They're all owned. I think this one is like someone local in Kansas City. This is like a neighborhood association organization. And then these are split between, there's a couple in Washington State, like a husband and wife. And then there's a woman who lives in the state of Georgia who owns some of these. So it'll be a matter of tracking them down and seeing if they're interested in selling it, and et cetera, et cetera. But no reason why it couldn't become available in the coming years.
Yep.
Well, that looks like a great place, you know.
Yeah, and then we got the World Cup in 2026 right down the road. So, yeah.
I mean, we're just watching all the football, soccer, as Americans call it, right? Canada did pretty good, much better than they thought we would, and then poor England lost again.
Yeah,
second place, boy. I don't know when they're ever gonna get the title, but
they didn't bring it home this year.
No. Spain got a record, right? I think it's four wins now.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, what else?
Be in a great position to be a showcase when that's coming up in when is it? 2028?
2026.
26. Oh, 26.
Yeah. We should be up and running just in time for the World Cup.
Right. That should be. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect timing across the board.
Yeah. All right. So let's get it going. Yeah, I think Ian and I hopefully have a few calls this week, and then we can. Richard and I are working on that executive summary. I'll send you what I've got so far, and we can, But I think that the 50.
Feel free to write me in on that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the 51,000. I think that's pretty much the land that we'll plan around and just do like you said, just fit it to the property. Maybe just do 20 and 20, or make it fit. However, but yeah, I think we're set to go. So let's just nail it together and send it home.
Super.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys would like to discuss anything else, we can continue discussing something else, or
I think it's good for now. I think next time I'm going to have the structural details for
beautiful
for Pyrapod soon. Should be this week. So maybe next week it'll be good timing. To get right into that. We can look at all of the issues. It's also like a project where I think that we might find people spontaneously coming to us and say, "I'd like to build one of those." I really think, because the cost is low, and I really think there's quite a lot of people that would have a situation where they could build one.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people kind of come in and ask, about different, Pyrapod projects. So yeah. And then and as far as the traditional fire farm kind of structure goes, we already have plenty of kind of diagrams of that, right?
Oh yeah, that's ready to roll. And the one I just did there, showing how the solar panels could be on the south facing slope. That's just a mock-up. There's no detailing there. That's what I meant too. That hey, that's a really good idea. That should be a research project that we can implement. In the first year after we get started, or so. And then we just do one bay. We just do it as a trial, so it wouldn't take much out of production to make a modification. And right from the get-go now, though, we can plan though that is coming. So when we build this model, I'll be looking at the whatever we actually build, that we won't have to sort of take it down, replace it, but just add. We can just add the panels and figure that out. But what we've already got, the sort of the platform is thought about to receive that system.
Perfect.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think we can get this done, and now we can move right on to that and implement them all over the world.
Yeah. So. All right, guys. Fantastic.
All right. Well, I'm going to shut it down. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll be up again soon. I'll share the link and everything. But thanks Richard. Thanks Ian.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.